All right, so we kind of talked about the yamas over the last few classes, and now we're going to move into the niyamas, which are kind of the personal disciplines that you cultivate to help you be happy and free. Can we all use a little bit more of that? I always wonder what it would be like if we received, if our teaching of children in schools was just so incredibly different from the way it is, whether, it's building in conflict resolution or communication skills or how to care for self and others a little bit more than, just kind of drilling in the calculus. Sometimes I wonder if our world would be a little better served if we had a little better education on the personal ways of being in the world. So, as you know, they kind of work together, the yamas and the niyamas. And the first of the niyamas is Saucha, and that's just the Sanskrit word for purity. And a lot of times it's translated, or I've heard it be described as cleanliness. But I think there's a big difference between like taking a shower and getting clean versus purifying your body. So, a lot of times in our culture, we have an emphasis on being very clean on the outside of our bodies, but maybe not being as pure on the inside of our bodies. And more importantly, the inside of our mind. So the purity practices physically are, water, water, are you eliminating well, how are the processes of what you're taking in and sweating out or excreting out helping you to be pure in body. And of course our physical practice, our asana practice, stimulates a lot of movement in the body, which even on a cellular level, we have this cellular exchange through the cell membranes, and we have when we move, there's a lot that happens in our physical body. All of you have been with me during lymph classes where we've moved lymph. But everything in our yoga practice helps us to move all the fluids in our body, to help keep our fascia loose and free so that we can be nimble and feel good and spacious in our body. So our asana practice absolutely is part of our purification of our physical form, as are the breath practices of yoga. So, but even beyond that, of course, the yoga in yoga traditions, they have absolutely things that we would never do, like swallowing a rag and having it go down your entire intestinal tract. I mean, there's some very strange things that some ancient yogis have done to try to purify their inner bodies. So we're not going to do any of that, right? But maybe just, taking a look at what makes you feel good in your body. Everybody's diet needs to be a little different, but what makes you feel good and what makes you not feel so good? And so just being aware of that intuition around what you're putting in. And, beyond just the physical purity of the body, what the Saucha really is about the purity of the mind. And so much of the time we can go about our day with so much clutter happening in our brains that we don't even notice the moments at hand. I mean, how many times have you had a conversation with somebody where you missed something that they said because you're thinking about something else, you get distracted. In any way, this happens to me a lot when I'm listening to a book on tape in the car. Next thing I know, I missed, a couple of minutes of time of what somebody has said because I'm off in a trail in my head. And this, if we can purify the space of our mind, we allow ourselves to really move into each moment with deep presence, which is such a gift to ourselves and to everyone that we interact with. So we have a freshness in our mind. And then another piece of that purity of mind is clearing the way so that when we do interact with other people, we are not meeting them based upon our preconceived notions of what we have, what our judgments say. It's very natural to judge in our minds. But when we have the sense of deep presence to pay attention with an open mind, a lot of beautiful things can be received and shared in those spaces. So this is part of the purity of Saucha as well. So, what ways do you, and then of course there's purity of space. So there's purity of body, purity of mind, purity of space. Do you have a lot of clutter around you? Is your desk piled high with the things, papers that you need to go through? Have you all know what I mean, right? That happiness is an empty sink, right? When the dishes are piled high and then you clear the dishes, like, there's spaciousness here. So kind of discipline, there's a lot of discipline required in Saucha to cultivate this sense of purity of the mind, the body, and the space that we inhabit. So this is not to beat yourself up for bad habits. Like all of the yamas and niyamas, it's just reminders that to support us, these things help us, that to be happy and free, these things help us. So to be aware and do your best to have a little bit more purity in your life. Okay, so sit up straight and tall and notice what has been rolling around inside your head. Have the thoughts, and you get this expression, think pure thoughts, and our minds can go in a million different directions of what that means, but really be in the moment. All right, so what might it feel like to open your body a little bit more freely? Is there a sense of spaciousness in your spine? What can you do to access a little more freedom in your body? Of course, we will by our movement that we do in just a moment, but even sitting here, is there a way that you can cultivate a posture that frees up your breathing, that opens the heart space to receive, that allows the belly to be free and mobile as you breathe? Can you ease through the mind and find the softness of your skull? And when you find any place that is a little, speaking to you, if you have some tenderness or pain or tightness, tension somewhere, can you soften? Can you melt? Can you just be aware? Now imagine the simplicity of an inhale and an exhale being all that we need to purify ourselves in this moment. Can you imagine that when you breathe in, it's a moment that you've never received, that you've never had before, that there's this new, fresh energy that just permeates all of you. And with every exhale, the simple act of surrender and letting go. Now you can work with this sense of Saucha in very disciplined ways, but you can also just have a little bit of a mantra in your mind of what you're trying to receive on the in-breath, something fresh, present, new, something that feels pure and good and free. And on your exhale, what are you able to release? And this doesn't have to necessarily translate to taking in the good and let going of the bad. But remember that we can release, that we have choice in every breath to receive something in our body and mind. And we have a choice in every breath to release something from our body and our mind. Can you melt the shoulders a bit more as you allow this breath to come in and go out? When you feel ready, maybe you can work with this mantra that you're creating on the breath, and maybe this can be part of your intention. But if you have something specific to intend, place your palms together at your heart. There's so many things we could focus on, but today, what does Saucha mean to you? What ways do you feel the beauty of purification and how it supports your well-being? And in what ways would you like to have a little bit more? So gratitude for the purity that we have and an openness to discipline ourselves to create more. And release your hands. And let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as we come onto your spine, just notice how your body is this morning. A lot of times we might pay attention when we wake up in the morning and we have our morning practice. What are the habits from the day before and how have they impacted us? How is what you ingested, any food or drink or drugs? What about all the media you've ingested? What about all the conversations you've ingested? So how do you process all of this and release? And is there ways to have those permeable boundaries to the quality that you'd like them to be? All right, let's stretch. One side, stretch the other side. You might even notice that the time of day that you eat might impact the quality of your sleep or then how you feel the next day. If you eat dinner quite late, that's a very different feeling in the morning than when you ate dinner quite early. All right, so let's go ahead and bring our knees into our chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side, having that feeling of ease come into your neck, your shoulders, your hips, your sacrum. All right, and then let's circle the knees, kind of moving one direction, circling a few times. Moving in other directions, circling a few times. And then moving a third direction where we move away from the midline with our knees and back in. So spreading the knees wide as far as the hip joints will allow and then bringing them back in. Then the right knee coming into the chest, left leg long on the ground, and roll around in your ankles. And can you feel, just even in your ankles and feet right now, how moving your body purifies something? You have some mobility, you get to flush some of the cellular debris, you get to move fluids and open up spaces, you get to loosen fascia and all sorts of connective tissues. Can you feel the nimbleness and freedom that comes from the simple act of moving joints? And let's change. Left knee in, right leg long on the ground, and feel into your feet again. Okay, so rolling your ankles, rolling your toes. Remember, lymph likes to have mobility of joints. When we move, this is what moves lymph. It does not have a cardiovascular system to move it around. It doesn't have a pump to pump like the heart does for your cardiovascular system. All right, so let's bring the knees back in. Big hug in, all your breath out. Squeeze for a moment. Stay here. Just squeeze your face, squeeze your core, and then let your breath in. Spread out your limbs nice and wide. Open up your body. Exhale, draw it in. No more squeezing, just nice and relaxed. One more time. This time we will squeeze the out. So find your way out to a star. Take a deep breath while you're here. Hold your breath. Squeeze anything in your body you have access to squeeze. And then relax the breath. Exhale, knees into your chest. Head comes up. Take a breath while you're here. When you exhale, squeeze it. Squeeze all your breath out. Hold it for a moment and then relax and melt your head down onto the ground. Take your feet onto the ground, arms up like the letter Y. Drop your knees over to the left, and as you do, turn your head right, stretch through your right arm, and then switch knees over to the right, stretch your left arm, turn your head left. Just get into the sides of your body, just letting the hips, the tops of the hips, the space between your ribs and your pelvis open up a bit. How's your breath? And then just for a moment, Supta Baddha Konasana, if you can manage it with no support underneath your knees, do so. We won't be here long. Just feel the sense of your arms straight out to the sides or overhead. Take a big, beautiful breath. Fill up your lungs. Let your center body be free and open. All right, and then roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and knees. All right, so as we find all fours, such a beautiful way to begin your practice to move your spine around. So feel into the cat-cows as you start to arch and round the spine. And just like when we're doing some house cleaning and we're using a sponge and we sop up whatever we're sopping up and then we squeeze it out and rinse it out and get the water to run clear. Let's feel that as we move through your spine. Use your breath and see if you can allow just the subtlety of movement to be like this wringing of the sponge, where we're getting into all the nooks and crannies of our body and clearing away any debris that's no longer needed. All right, let's go ahead and move the spine any way you want. You can wag your tail, you can move your head around, anything that feels good. All right, and then stretch back towards child's pose. Walk the hands forward. Feel that sense of length and space that you have in your sides. Keep your neck as neutral and soft as you can. Let's walk the hands over to one side of the mat and feel the rib cage broaden and open. Root down into the pads of your fingers so that you can ground and open up all the way to your sit bone. Feel that sense of space. Come back, move over to the other side, finding a sense of space here. You can drop your hips back to whatever place they naturally go. Just feel that the side body is opening. We're grounding the fingers so that we have that anchor to support the openness through the whole side of our body. And then come back to center. We're going to do some rib cage rolls here. All right, so we're going to drop the chest and then move it over to the right, rib cage over to the right, rib cage up toward the sky, rib cage to the left, and back down again. So we just have this big roll through our ribs. Try to get as mobile and free in your rib cage as you can. So a few passes, make sure you're breathing. And then we're going to go the other direction, over to the left, up toward the sky, over to the right and down. Try to get every rib to be a part of this. Remember how mobile your rib cage really is. It's our most green and flexy bones that we have in our body. All right, and then pause for one more round of the cat-cow. come to a flat back. Inhale, left arm up to the sky, drop that arm down, thread it through, breathe into the back of the rib cage here. So let's consciously move the breath. See if you can open up the spaces where the ribs and the spine meet. Fill up the back lungs, try to get into all the lung space you can find. Much of our day, we don't really utilize the full capacity of our breathing. Inhale, reach that arm back up in the air and place the hand down. And everybody knows the feeling of working our lungs strongly, maybe exercising strongly, other arm up, bring that arm through, aerobically exercising where you're having to breathe hard and fast. And the purification that comes from having a little bit of that in your life. But more importantly, it's the moment by moment breath throughout the day that really can help us, not just the few minutes in the day that we might be strenuous in our exertion. But how do you breathe when you're sitting at the desk working for hours a day? How do you breathe when you're stressed? How do you breathe when you're worried? Try to pay attention that our breath is available always. Let's reach that arm up in the air and place the hand down onto the ground. Okay, so let's find our way to a dog pose. As you reach up and lengthen through the body, feel into the fullness now. So we have a big full body pose here. Drop some weight into the hands and feet. Feel the extension as we yield and then push off the ground and reach through our body. Feel free to pedal your feet. Again, when we move rhythmically in the body, we have this freedom that starts to arrive in our fascia that allows for a lot of opening and a lot of movement of fluid. So let's enjoy that as we pedal your heel, one and then the other. How's the breath here? All right, so ground again, yield into the earth, feel that reach, open up the breath. And walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Dangle the head, let it bobble around a little bit if it feels good. Feel free to shimmy your hips, shimmy your ribs, bounce a little if you want to. And then inhale for a halfway lift. Get the spine to lengthen and be free. Drop weight into your feet. And then exhale and relax. Bend your knees, melt your skull down. Inhale, halfway lift again. Spine is long. Stretch the backs of the legs. Exhale and melt. Soft knees. Rising all the way on up. Coming up to stand when you feel ready. Inhale, reach the arms up, a big open chest, maybe a little bit of a back bend if it feels good to do this here. Open your arms to a cactus and then round in like forearms come to touch. One more time, inhale, arms coming up, cactus the arms, squeeze the back body a bit, exhale, round in. Okay. All right, release the hands down. So you've all done this with me before, but these are really good, simple ways to stimulate a lot of movement of fluids in our bodies. So we're going to start just by bouncing. All right, so you can jump if you want to. I know Maggie's got a rebounder in her room. You could hop on there if you want. Okay, so just feel it. Doesn't matter if you leave the floor or not. You can, jiggle on one leg. Okay. But bouncing is a really good way for our bodies to receive a lot of feedback. Okay, it's good for our nervous system, it's good for our lymph, it's good for our bones. And so how's your breath? Okay, now we're gonna shake. So shake your hands. Do it longer than you think you should. Give them a good shake. You can shake your shoulders, you can shake your hips. And you can get on one leg, shake around, other leg, All right. Be still and just notice. We have 2 more things to do to kind of shake things up, but just notice already, do you feel more alive? Are there things moving in your body that weren't moving before? Okay. All right, so this next one is this tapping. So you can use scoop hands or you can use fists, whatever feels good. We're going to first just do it, concentrate right around our lungs. So remember, a lot of our prana purity comes in our breathing. So let's just get a little bit of tapping along our chest, get underneath your breasts. Remember those side ribs and the low ribs. You can kind of do one side on your sides. If you're lucky enough to have somebody in your room doing yoga with you, you guys can turn and do each other's backs. If you're by yourself, you can take your fists and just slightly get into those lower lung fields. It's hard to get into the upper lung fields, but you can get into the lower ones. And then maybe tap on the top of the shoulders. All right, and then we're going to do some tapping right across our collarbones. Okay, so right at the sternum, might be a little tender. You can change your angles of your finger pads. Now we're using our fingers, tap, tap, tap. Make sure you're breathing. Go right across the collarbones, right underneath the collarbones. Feel that line and kind of tap along. This is where all the lymph re-enters the bloodstream. And then take your hands and smack down your arms. Okay. Go across the back of your neck, the front of your throat. And we're going to go up our head, around our skull. Slap your face a little bit, very gently. And then go into your belly. And you can be doing different places than me. Okay. Go down into your hips. Hit your butt and your low back. And then down one leg. You can go. Make sure you do the inside, the outside, front side, the back side. All the way down to your feet. Now, one might say that this is an outer practice, we're tapping on our skin, but really we're getting into layers right below our skin, which are very much where our lymph lives. All right, so now pause. When you're ready to stop, just notice your body. Okay, so these are very simple practices that you can do that help to purify and enliven your body. Okay. All right, and then the last of these kind of simple things, we're going to just do what we often do, where we feel into a little bit of movement of our spine. So let your arms be heavy. We're twisting, getting a lot of mobility into our spine. Make sure you're breathing. Okay, and you can maybe turn sideways on your mat because we are going to bring our legs wider in a moment. Okay. All right, and then we're going to reach our arms out. Let your other foot leave. I don't play golf, but I always imagine this is kind of what a golf swing must feel like. Okay, just imagine you can start to bend your knees. You can start to bring your arms higher. Move into the breath. Some big inhales, get some squats going now. You can get your leg wider if you want to. You can start to slow down or go faster. Move into the breath. Go as deep into the squats as your body will allow. If you want to slow down, slow down. If you don't want to go so deeply, don't go so deeply. All right, and then pause. Put your arms down at your sides. Legs are now wide. A full breath. Notice your breathing probably changed during that, so notice the beauty of your breathing. And then we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. Turn your feet out a little bit. Exhale. And then inhale up. Just imagine that when you bring your hands down and you're squatting, you're releasing. What are you letting go? Put something down into the earth and then receive something from the earth. Move with your breath. All right, and then pause in your guts. You can put your arms anywhere you want. Doesn't matter. You can be high up, you can be low. Find your breath. Root into the feet. And come on up to stand. We're going to turn back to the front of our mat for a dog pose. Now, when you come here, notice if your body feels a little bit more alive than a few minutes ago when we found our way into dog pose. Drop some weight. Let go. Let your out breath come. What's that mantra? What are you releasing? What are you inviting? When you feel ready, come forward into a plank. So find that sturdiness, steadiness. See if you can let your breath be billowing out to the side bodies. All right, put your knees down, find the earth. Roll the shoulders a couple of times. And inhale for a cobra pose, chest is open. Exhale and relax. Bring your arms wide. Find a wide cobra. Stretch your legs, stretch your belly, neck is long. Exhale and melt. Come up onto all fours. Move and swish about your spine. And then back to child's pose. Now, when you come into this child's pose, feel that sense that you're just compressing, that everything's releasing. All right, let's find our way up to dog pose again. Hands come down, feet are down, pedaling your feet. Feeling that openness. Let all your breath out. Now we're going to do a couple of lion's breaths while we're here. So a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, stick out your tongue. Breathe out through your mouth and make a lot of noise. Stretch your mouth. Another one. Inhale. Exhale. Stick out your tongue. And then relax that and walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, the neck is soft. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale and melt. Neck is soft, let it relax. Drop your feet, rising on up, arms coming to the sky. Big open breath. Cactus your arms again, and then release your hands down. Okay, let's step our left foot back. Come into a lunge. On this side, the chest is open and free. Find your breathing. We're going to start bending and straightening the front knee. So you feel into that sense of openness through the hamstrings, through the hip flexors. Find your breath. And find your way to a lunge. Okay, ground your legs. Lifting arms up. Now remember, your arms can be up high, they can be out wide, they can be down at your hips. So find the pathway that gives the breath its time and space. What are you inviting in? Every breath is a new opportunity. what's new, what's here that's fresh and new. Try not to have preconceived notions about how you are in this pose. And release your hands down, walk your back foot forward, melt the skull. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and relax. Step your left foot forward, right foot back. Come to a lunge this side, opening up the hip flexors. Okay, feeling into that beautiful space. And then as you're ready, let's start to move. We're bending and straightening the front knee, finding our way into that range of motion that feels so nice. All your breath out, all the new breath in. All right, come into a lunge. Ground your legs, rising up when you feel ready, crescent lunge. Opening up through the heart space, feeling the legs support you, so anchor through your legs. Press into your front foot, find that heel and root it down. A beautiful breath in, full, complete exhale. Hands go wherever you want them to be. And then release your hands down. Walk your back foot forward, come into Uttanasana, relax your neck. Halfway lift. Put your feet together or stick a block between your thighs, however you like to do chair pose. And let's squat down. Okay, so feel your arms reach upward or outward or anywhere that serves your body. Find your breath. We're going to twist here. Deep breath in. As you exhale, over to the right, twisting as you go. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, over to the left. One more time, each side. When you bring your arm back, if your shoulders bothers you, turn your thumb down. Sometimes that's easier on the shoulder. Arms up. All right, sink into the chair, press weight into the heels. And then we're slowly gonna rise up onto our toes. Find your breathing. Exhale, separate your feet and fold forward. Relax into Uttanasana, melt. Find your breathing body. Okay, deep inhale and a deep exhale. Okay, so a full breath in and out. We're going to step back to dog pose. Take your hands onto the mat and drop back. Full breath in, full breath out. Come onto your knees. Actually, come to a plank. Stabilize. Let's just have a moment here. Let's turn our belly here. So turn your navel to the right. And then back to center. Turn your navel to the left. Back to center. And then find the ground. Find your way onto your belly. Roll the shoulders. Any back bend you want. It could be cobra. It could be something different. Melt onto the ground. When you're ready, come onto your back. All right, so release your neck on the ground. Let your head be heavy for a moment. Find your breath. We're going to take our arms straight out to the sides, and we're going to bring our knees up. Now, if you're very efficient in this pose, and you want to do this with straight legs, bringing your feet to your hands, go ahead and do this with straight legs. Otherwise, I'll teach it so that our knees are bent, which for many of us is a little safer for our backs. Okay, so knees stay bent, and we're going to try to bring our knees toward our elbows. And then inhale on the way up. Exhale over to the other side. Belly turning pose. And so feel this sense of clearing through. The twists are so good, right? They help us with our intestines, right? You know, kind of like helping us move and churn all that we are digesting. But they also help our lungs. They help strengthen our diaphragm. They help with the range of motion in our spine. So there's a lot of really good things that happen. You also have a lot of deep lymph in your body that gets stimulated by poses like this. So know that you're treating your innards very well here. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure you're protecting your back. Use your core, use your obliques, instead of just relying on your back muscles to do this work. Once you've completed both sides an even number of times, draw your knees to your chest. Rock a little bit, let your head be heavy. Full breaths, right knee snug up to the chest, left leg long on the ground. This is called wind pose, and it's supposed to help with digestive distress. So just imagine the compression into the belly. And switch sides, left knee in, right leg long on the ground. All right, put both feet on the ground now, knees bent. We're going to come into a bridge pose. The feet are grounded and stable on the mat. We're going to lift up and climb up onto the tops of your shoulders and do what you will with your arms. They can be cactus with your fingers, not cactus, but robot arms, your fingers pointing straight up. Arms can be straight with your palms up. You can also interlace your hands under your back, whichever feels good for your body. Open across your collarbones. Feel your breath move into your lower ribs. Feel your breath move into your belly. Let your diaphragm move a lot. Remember to fully exhale. Ground through the four corners of your feet. And release and melt your body down. Rest for a breath. Let your back find its neutral. Then we're going to roll over onto your side when you're ready and come up to dog pose. All right, so as you find your way, this is kind of like home base sometimes, right? But just notice what's shifting and changing in your body. Stretch through the hands, stretch through the feet, yield, push and reach. Open up the fullness of your rib cage for breath. Melt the head. Wow. See if you can just let all the skin on your face, your jaw, your tummy, everything's soft. We're going to lift the right leg up in the air. Exhale, bring your knee right to the center of your chest, shoulders over wrists like a plank. All your breath out. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, right knee to right elbow. All your breath out. Focus on those exhales. Inhale, bring the leg back up. Cross it over. Left elbow. Inhale, bring it back. This time, bring your foot forward, come to a lunge. You get to choose the pathway now. We're going to do a twist. So you can put your hand on a block, your left hand on a block or on the ground and twist open. You can come up a little higher and put your elbow on the outer knee and twist open. You can have your hand and forearm on your knee and twist open. Your back knee can be on the ground, your back knee can be up. Choose the pathway and breathe. Open your collarbones. Move your belly. And then release and bring your hand down. Step your front foot back. Dog pose. Second side. Lift your left leg up. As you're ready, knee to your chest. All your breath out. Inhale, bring it back. Left knee to left elbow, all your breath out. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, left knee to right elbow, all your breath out. Inhale, bring it back. Bring your foot through, finding a lunge. Same twist on this side. So if you have your hand on a block or on the floor, find that twist. If you have your elbow on your knee, find that twist. Just try to do the same pose you did on the first side. Shoulders away from the ears, the belly's doing the turning. Breathe deeply into your ribs. Press your front heel down. Relax and come back. Dog pose. Come on to your shins. Find a cat-cow. Maybe another. And then we're going to sit back on your heels. All right, so a beautiful breath here. And if you prefer, you can sit on a block in between your heels for Virasana. Virasana is a great pose to kind of flush a lot through your legs. Let's pause here for a moment. We're going to inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, twist to the left. Hands come down. Inhale, arms up. Twist to the right. Hands come down. One more time each side. Arms come up. Twist to the left. Hands come down. Last time, arms come up. And then bring your hands to spread out. So palms really spread wide on your thighs. They can be high on your thighs or closer to your knees, whatever's comfortable. Roll the shoulders, open the chest. We're going to do some 3 lion's breaths here. So this is fun because you're all by yourself. So you can be as, a lot of times this breath makes people feel very self-conscious. So you're all by yourself. So really go for it. Okay, so if you've not done lion's breath very much, simple. You open your mouth as wide as you can. You stick your tongue down toward your chin as far as it can go. And you lift your eyeballs up to the sky and you make a sound on the exhale. So deep breath in. Okay, I'm a little embarrassed because you guys can hear me. So deep breath in, twice more. Okay, if you want to, you can lift your head up toward the sky on this last one. Deep breath in. So inhale, arms come up. Exhale, come forward off the block, move the block out of the way, and swish about your spine. And now some of you need, let's all do this. Take your left foot straight back, curl your toes under. So open up the backs of your knees after being on that block, and let's cross the foot over to the right. Hips are square, shoulders and pelvis square to the floor, and turn and look out over your left foot on the right side of your mat. Take a big breath into your side body. Back to center. Second side. Right foot curls, leg is straight. Cross it over to the left, turn and look over the left. Breathe into the side of your body. come back to center. So choose either, actually, before we do that, sorry, one more thing I'd like to do. This is, you've all done this with me before, and I think this feels really good. So I'm hoping you agree. We're going to come down and lie on our belly. Scoot your body over to the right side of your mat. Lift your left knee up high. Hopefully this will prepare us for the hip stretch of pigeon pose we're about to do. But just feel into that and cross your right arm over to the left side of your mat and twist open. Let your chest be big. Let your head relax. Let your knee leave the ground and just enjoy the big open, big blue sky breath. There's so much space. Find your way back. Scoot over to the left side of your mat. Right knee comes high up toward your armpits. We're going to cross the left arm over to the right and let the right arm open up, hand coming down to the ground if that's where your body goes. Let your knee leave the ground as far away as you need it to be. Big blue sky breath. So feel it big and beautiful. Let your head be heavy. And then come back round again. Now, hopefully our hips are nice and open for a pigeon pose or a reverse pigeon pose. So you choose the pathway you want to be. You can use blankets if you like. Right leg is going first. So right foot on top of left knee if you're in reverse pigeon pose. And right leg forward if you're in regular pigeon pose. Extend open through your heart, lengthen through your spine, and melt your body. All right, so adjust into any way that you need adjusting where the body is at ease. Having your head supported can make a huge difference in your ability to melt and relax into this pose. Now let's find our breath again. Loosen the diaphragm. Relax the diaphragm and breathe deeply. You feel ready? We'll transition to the other side, however you like to transition. Dog pose or pigeon pose or reverse pigeon pose, your choice. If you're in pigeon, make sure your head is supported by the ground, the hands are a block. If you're in reverse pigeon, melt the head into the ground. Try to put yourself in a good spot where you're not resisting the pose. Make sure your knee, your hip, your SI joint, and your ankle joints are all feeling good. Let your breath take you deeper. Melt your diaphragm and breathe deep. Whatever that mantra was on your breath, what are you inviting on the inhale? What are you releasing on the exhale? Has your practice given you the gift of purity of our breathing, of our bodies, but also of our mind? Is your mind a little steadier? Are you more present in the moment? Are you in your body? So every time we step onto our mat, it's like the equivalent of cleaning out the closet and scrubbing all the dishes, opening up all the windows and doors and letting the spring air in. Okay, so appreciate all that your practice gives you. Let's find our way out of there. Coming onto your back, knees into your chest. Now, for some of us, happy baby feels really good after pigeon. For some of us, a bridge feels really good after pigeon. So whatever your body is needing to prepare for Shavasana. Okay, so whatever it is, take a moment to prepare your body. Right now, a heart bench is what my back wants, so I'm putting a block under my shoulder blades. But you know, you do you. What is it that your body's asking for? We have a moment, so listen and follow. And as you start to feel ready for Shavasana, if you're at all chilly or think you might get chilly, cover yourself with a blanket. Make sure that when you are in Shavasana, you have the support you need, but any support you don't need, push it away from you. So try not to like feel a block or feel a strap or, you know, move, get rid of the distractions. And then allow your body to settle. As you let things go, remember how important Shavasana is. Be here now. Your limbs soften into the ground. May your head be heavy. Melt through your face. Relax your jaw and your tongue. Move breath well. you feel ready, let's begin to move your body very slowly, very carefully. Feeling your breath move in and out. And maybe big full stretch if it feels good. Coming onto your side as you feel ready. Coming up to sit. And as you come to sit, place your palms together at your heart. And again, feel that mantra. What are you inviting in on this beautiful new breath? What are you choosing to let go of on that beautiful exhale? With all the fresh, pure energy prana that you've cultivated and brought into your mind and body through practice, let's share this. So move this energy through you and send your love and care to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Blessings on the day.